So I had a bunch of credit cards and I maxed them all out in the period of a year. And so it was up to almost $30,000.
Wow.
I ended up taking out a personal loan to pay all my credit cards off. Here's the kicker though. That doesn't work if you keep using the credit cards after. So
You put a Band-Aid on the problem.
Yeah, well, I doubled the debt in another year.
You doubled your debt?
Yeah, it was like up to 70.
Whoa. What's up, rich people? It's me, Haley, AKA Mrs. Dow Jones. And if you're in your 30s and want to be rich, welcome to my Chanel. In this video, you're gonna learn how to level up your finances in your 30s. Whether or not you have a serious romantic partner right now, your money relationship is about to get serious. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to Haley's Diary, my weekly newsletter. We have, I think, 70,000 subscribers now, and you need to be one of them, darling. Sign up at the link below. Okay, David, let's roll tape. Hey guys, I'm in the studio with Danielle. She is a former 20-year-old, now 31-year-old. And we are going to talk about the steps that you need to take in your 30s if you want to be financially successful for the rest of your life, because this is a decade where you can set everything up. I would like to know what you do for work, what your salary is.
I'm a tax consultant in the city, and I earn $175,000 currently.
Woo! Love six-figure girls. Right now, I see you, Danielle. I'm like, there's a gal who's got it together. She's got her nice salary. She's living in the big city. But you were telling me earlier, that's not how it always was. So tell me a little bit about your financial habits in your 20s.
So I used to be very careful with my finances until really a pivotal thing that happened in 2016. I went through a pretty bad breakup, and I think the way I coped with it was spending money I didn't have. So I had a bunch of credit cards and I maxed them all out in the period of a year. And so it was up to almost $30,000.
Wow.
And that would consist, it wasn't like going out and buying a Chanel bag. It was going out and running up bar tabs with my friends, never asking for money, going to nice restaurants, getting unnecessary blowouts for, a random dinner.
Yeah.
Just things that like were not getting my makeup done. Like things I didn't need to be spending money on. And I ended up taking out a personal loan to pay all my credit cards off. Here's the kicker though. That doesn't work if you keep using the credit cards after. So,
But you put a Band-Aid on the problem.
Yeah, well, I doubled the debt in another year.
You doubled your debt?
Yeah, I had all of these different balances, all of these different due dates. I felt like I was drowning.
Can you walk us through your wake-up call?
So I think it was just, I started like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was having trouble making the payments. Like I felt like I just had no cash, like at all. And I don't know, it just like hit me.
Because I feel like so many people in their 20s, they're not thinking long term. They have that lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
And
they feel that you feel that pressure to like
to
keep up and you also don't realize that a lot of people are going through the same thing as you. You really don't know what someone's financial situation is just by looking at them.
what is the worst money mistake that you made in your 20s?
Spending too much for rent. Oh. I could have lived at home for another year and saved a lot of money.
Too many clothes.
So it'll happen to anyone.
Too many clothes, too many shoes.
Oh, is that your kryptonite?
Shoes.
Going to college.
So you got those private loans or those public?
Private.
Ooh.
Well, all of these companies are telling you to open up these credit cards, but they're not telling you how to manage those credit cards.
Yes.
So managing the credit cards is imperative.
Yes.
So I would say not just opening them up, but opening them up and then knowing how to stay on top of it as far as payments.
Worst financial mistake in my 20s. Getting into the whole crypto hype. It wasn't too bad, but then there was GME as well, and that's where it stopped. Stopped gambling and just went to the S&P 500 moving.
That's what we like to hear.
So I started looking into these different programs where you can consolidate your debt, and that's essentially what I ended up doing. The downside, I knew my credit was going to take a hit, but it's not like I was in any position to be buying a home or anything in the next few years. I ended up doing that. I think I had 7 different credit cards that
Wow.
I consolidated through this program. And basically for 6 months, I had to stop making payments because the way it works, you could try to negotiate with the credit cards, but if you're making minimum payments, their excuse is, well, they're making the minimum payment, so why should we negotiate with them?
Oh.
And so in order to be in a position of power, at the end of the day, they only care about getting paid. So if you stop making payments, then you can start negotiating with them, because if they think after a certain period of
That
time
you're going to default.
that they're not going to get anything out of you, they might make a deal with you. I finished paying everything off in a total of 4 years.
Well, so you start, you get the service.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, Danielle, first thing you're gonna do is stop paying your payments.
Yes.
So, and you have to pay them, right? You're paying the service?
When they build in like a fee into your monthly payment.
Okay.
So when I consolidated everything, it was about $1,100 a month that I paid into this account that they used to negotiate for me and to pay everything off. I want to say I ended up paying all in like $64,000. Actually, I could probably like
So
look
a
it
little,
up
yeah,
right now.
like you paid a little bit less than the 70 that you owed.
A lot less.
A lot less.
Yeah, like
because with the interest rates.
yeah, I saved like probably between $12,000 and $15,000.
Whoa. So it was so worth it.
It was worth it. And
What did it feel the day that you were debt free?
It felt good. I still have student loans, so I can't wait for those to be on, but it was huge. But that extra $1,100 a month is huge for me.
Huge.
Yeah.
And not relieving yourself of the emotional burden of having debt.
Yeah.
So like, where are we at now and what are your goals going forward?
So going forward, I really want to learn more about how to build wealth.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important for me to build a better savings and an emergency fund. I think
Yeah, we're
that's
gonna
where I
talk
want
about
to
that.
start. And then I do want to learn more about investing and getting into that. I don't think I'm ready yet mentally or financially to be doing risky type investments.
No, but also you don't ever have to.
Yeah.
Like let's like dispel that rumor once and for all. Like to grow wealth in the stock market, you never have to like pick individual stocks. You don't have to do crypto. You don't have to follow trends. You can literally just buy a low-cost index fund that tracks the S&P 500 and it will give you over time like 8% returns. And you don't want to be average in your life, but with your finances, investing, those returns, average is good.
So yeah, that, and then I do have a solid 401k, and that's one thing that I've never stopped contributing into throughout all of my 20s, as soon as I could contribute when I started working, I did.
Think about your finances as like, first we need to lay the foundation. Like it's sort of like, you can't build a sandwich without the bread, okay? No high interest rate debt, which good job, you paid that off.
Yes.
Also, you wanna save an emergency fund. So let's say 3 months of bare bones living expenses in a high yield savings account. And then the third thing that you wanna do, the bread, is you wanna max out all of your tax advantaged accounts. So that means your 401k, which you've been doing, Roth IRA or traditional IRA. And then also if you have health insurance that has a high deductible, you might be eligible for an HSA.
I have an HSA.
Which you can invest the money in your HSA, which is actually triple tax advantage. Money in is pre-tax, the money that grows, no taxes, and then you get to take it out in retirement without paying taxes on it either. Once those are all done, then you can add the fillings to the sandwich, which are like, cool, do I want to invest more in a brokerage on my own? Do I want to maybe save for a down payment? Then you can start being more creative about your financial goals. But having that foundation is really important first, and establishing that in your 30s is monumental.
When you start saving for a house, say a down payment,
Yeah.
would you also do that in a high yield savings account? Like how does that work when you're taking the money out of it?
I think what you're talking about is like your timeline of your financial goals. Mm-hmm. So like basically the stock market goes up and down, but over time it trends upwards. But the reason that we don't put money that we need in the next 5 to 7 years in the stock market Like that's why we don't keep our emergency fund in the stock market. Why, if you're saving for a down payment for a home in the next few years, you wouldn't put it in the stock market. You would keep all this money in a high yield savings account. Is because say you really need the money and you put the money in, and the stock market was doing great, and then now it's not doing so well. You're gonna have less money than you initially did. Whereas if we put it in a high yield savings account, there's no risk there. We know it's just the money is going to be there and it's going to earn a certain amount every month, and that's like fixed, you know? So you want to, because the money that we put in the stock market, we need to let sit and cook. Now going into your 30s, what are you trying to accomplish financially? Like, do you have any goals?
I just bought an apartment actually in Sydney, so been doing that for a couple of years.
Okay, so you just hit a major financial goal. Congrats. Thanks. What was your biggest money mistake in your 20s?
Not starting to save soon enough, waiting to start on the 401k and financially planning.
What advice would you give to someone who was in their 20s with their finances?
To start investing and getting 401ks early.
In our 30s, you know, we're looking good and we're also earning more. And it could start to feel like things that are luxuries should become necessities. So you're ultimately not actually keeping any money and able to grow it into wealth. And it can be hard because in our 30s, we're like, your dreams get bigger as you get older. And so really being able to balance that is so important.
Fortunately for me, I moved into my current apartment in the end of 2020 when, you know, it was a great renter.
It really was. That's huge. So yeah, I always say like focus on the big things. Like if you get the big things right, then the small things don't sting as much. Like, you know, if your fixed expenses are within your budget, if it's 50% of your after-tax income that you're able to spend on your fixed expenses or less, then you're doing great. I think the biggest thing, Danielle, though, and you're such a good example of this, is like you can self-realize your financial goals. Like you already hit a huge financial goal, which was to pay off your credit card debt. So it's sort of like, what's next? You know what I mean? Like dream big, because when you have a why, it makes it a lot easier to know why not to buy something. Okay, guys, I'm gonna let Danielle go. She's been so amazing talking to us about finances in your 30s versus 20s. We heard all about her secrets. And Danielle, you're like my new hero. I am obsessed with you. I love that you paid off all your debt. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and can't wait to see what you do next. Look, we all make money mistakes in our 20s, okay? I used to order Nova for breakfast, but there's always a way to fix the past. I mean, Danielle paid off $70,000 in debt. I scramble eggs now. The biggest tip I have is to take control. Like, if you feel financially, it's okay. Let's just make a plan to get you out of it. And then also to start investing. Don't have the same regrets that we heard from all of those people today. The sooner you start setting yourself up for a luxe financial future, the better. The time is right now. And if you are like Danielle and aren't exactly sure where to start, take Start Here, my best-selling beginner's financial course. Comment below with your financial goal, and I'm gonna choose 3 favorites to gift Start Here to. Subscribe for more financial therapy and stay rich, bitch.